What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcast. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you. But Brandon, let's close out the podcast, and I'll be honest. We have been going for a while. Like Stewie Griffin would say, not while, for a while.
Well, we got here at 7:30.
Yep.
It is 10:06.
It is, and we got one segment to go. We got our top 5 of the big board. If you guys are on Blog Talk Radio and podcast services around the world, you guys are full troopers. If you're on YouTube, you're only watching one segment, check out the rest of them. You got to be troopers, just like the ones listening to the full podcast on podcast services. Also, mostvaluablepodcast.com. Can't leave that out. But Brandon, starting with you, take us through your top 5.
All right, for me at number 5, I've got Roquan Smith, the linebacker from Georgia. At 4, I've got Bradley Chubb, the defensive end from NC State. At 3, I've got Minkah Fitzpatrick, the defensive backer from Alabama. Number 2, I've got Josh Allen, quarterback from Wyoming. And number 1, Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
I'm going to be completely honest. Put mine up. There's not much of a difference. Roquan Smith, number 5. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick, number 4. Bradley Chubb, number 3. Those are about the only 2 changes. Then Josh Allen, number 2. Saquon Barkley, number 1. Me and you, consistent in the top 5, except we switched Chubb and Fitzpatrick. Guy I want to talk about, though, mainly is Josh Rosen, because Josh Allen, holy crap. Did you see the 70-yard bomb he threw at the combine? That thing was beautiful. However, I'm going to ask the question, should we be buying the hype with Josh Allen, or the other side of the table, will he be the biggest bust of the draft? Because there are still that side that think, man, hype him up so much just so he falls a little bit harder when he gets to the NFL.
Well, but here's the thing. You could say that about anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times do I have to keep saying this? Right now, all we're going on people is hype. I mean, there's...
I love hype.
I got to go back to, and
I'm
I know
a hype machine, Brandon.
And I know it's not the same. Mm-hmm. Jamarcus Russell.
The J. Russell hustle, baby.
I mean, talk about falling on just a pile of hype, because that's about all he had to fall back on was hype, because the talent wasn't there. I mean, he stunk. Yet, everyone, was hyping him up. He's going to be great. And then he wasn't. So that could happen anytime to anybody. I don't think that's going to happen with Josh Allen. Now, do I think that we should peg Josh Allen as, oh gosh, this guy is going to be the next big thing. He's winning I almost said a World Series. He's not going to win a World Series, but he's winning a Super Bowl next year. No. But I don't think that we also should be saying, all right, guys, we better watch out. He's going to be the boom or bust guy. No, I just don't think so. He's clearly got the talent, and he's got the tools. His arms, his accuracy, yes, people will knock him. Accuracy can be fixed. I know people will say 2 things. Well, his receivers weren't really good. And then people will say, well, his receivers were actually better than some of the other guys' receivers. Accuracy can be fixed. He's got great arm strength. He is really good in that. Clearly, a 70-yard bomb. Are you kidding me?
I loved it when, I think it was Mike Mayock, it might have been Rich Eisen, after he threw that large bomb. It was Rich Eisen. So after he throws the first one, he goes, wow, that went from like the 10 to the 30. And then he goes, oh, now he's just showing off now. Now he's just showing off. Like, you could tell watching him, all right, the footwork was a little shaky at first, but like Mayock said, as it goes on, they're going to get more comfortable.
All of that, but all of that can be...
He was just feeling it then.
But what I'm telling you is that, what I'm trying to tell you, because you like to hear yourself talk, so you just keep doing that. What I'm trying to tell you is that all of that can be worked on. All of that is... You can coach that and be like, this is how your footwork has to be.
Well, no. He wasn't saying like...
I don't give a shit what Mike Mayock said. I'm telling you what Brandon Swanson's saying. You can change your footwork.
Yeah.
He can change that. That's going to lead to improved confidence. I don't give a damn what Mike Mayock said. I'm telling you what I'm saying.
I'm saying, like, it's not like a... oh, no, this is a negative. It's just like
it is a negative right now. His footwork is not as good as it should be.
How they were talking about it was like if I just said, hey, Brandon, start doing this drill, and you start to do it, you start doing the reps, obviously your footwork isn't going to be crystal clear right from the start because you're going to be a little cold. Then as he got into it, it was like, okay, that's what we see from his footwork. That's what it is. At the beginning, it was just him... first just working into the drill, getting used to being at the combine, being with the new receiver. And really, that's the thing that I looked at. What's one of the biggest knocks everyone said? Well, he didn't have anyone to throw to, and he was throwing to lesser guys. He got to throw to. There was one time he was matched up with one of the receivers from Oklahoma State, threw a big bomb to him, I believe. And it's like, you're working with those receivers. He looked pretty good throwing to those receivers. So, to me, take that knock, just take the pencil and erase it. Because that's not a knock to me anymore. He'll throw to anyone. He won't care who it is.
I think that for Josh Allen, he probably has the highest ceiling out of any of the quarterbacks.
No, he does.
Just because we haven't seen probably even the best days of Josh Allen yet. And that is... what some could say is a little scary, but what others would say is, okay, we have something to really look forward to. And again, with his arm strength, and then with better footwork, I think comes better arm strength, comes better accuracy, comes more confidence, which is what I was trying to say to you before, but you had other things in mind. And that's what is going to make him possibly the best quarterback out of the draft class.
Well, and here's the thing I want to ask you. So we're obviously big boarding it. So this is without team needs, just best players off the board. Two-part question. Number one, throw the Browns in there. I think I've asked you this before. Obviously, you put Saquon number one. He's the guy going first. Could you see an argument where the Browns say, you know what, we're going to pass on Saquon Barkley number one, we're going to take a Josh Allen number one, and if you don't see that, and you're like, you know what, the Browns have it, do then the Giants at 2 take Josh Allen, where both you and me have him slotted on the big board right at 2?
To your first part, I would say no with the Browns, only because the Browns are going to go for the safer option because they have already been burned. When I say burned, they've really burned themselves in terms of quarterback. So I don't think they'll go with someone like Allen right away, only because as good as they believe he could be, the Browns have been the team of could be on quarterbacks, and it just has not worked out. So they're going to go for a safer option if they're going to go quarterback at number one. The Giants have a little time because with their new head coach coming in there and saying that Eli Manning has 5 years left, or still has years in the tank, they have some time to be able to bring Allen in, work with him, have him work under Eli, the only guy who can beat the Patriots, until, Foles came in. And then after those years of Eli are over, hand the reins off to Allen, and then he's ready to be the Josh Allen, in the full. But I think that it's more realistic that the Giants would take him there than the Browns going number one with him, because of the fact that, again, the Browns could fully understand that if they went with him, they could be getting a really good product. But the Browns need to be a little safer.
The Browns need everything, basically. They almost need everything. When you're 0-16, anything is on the table, even a head coach. That's for Mark Weber. I knew Mark wanted me to throw that one in there. But no, like the Browns, same thing with you, mainly because, like I said, they're going to go Saquon. They're going to go Baker Mayfield at 4. The Giants are...
They've been talking to you?
The Giants are an interesting one, though, because you could take them... Like, I would like that. Take them at 2, sit them behind Eli, let him develop. Because you've got Eli, then you've got Josh Allen. Josh Allen can be your quarterback of the future. However, I could also see Josh Allen being the guy to get some trade offers, because there's kind of a situation of what is Denver going to want to do? Is Denver going to do they want a Baker Mayfield guy? Do they want a Josh Rosen guy? Do they want a Darnold guy? Or do they want a Josh Allen guy? Like, you look at where John Elway has been. He's obviously looking at everyone. He's looked at Josh Rosen. He's been to the bowl game for Josh Allen. You can put your money on it that the scouts for the Broncos are putting extensive notes on every one of the quarterbacks that they could either see at 5 or trade up to from 5. That's a team, like the 2 teams I see Josh Allen sitting behind Eli or going into a starting situation where you're going to, obviously you're going to fight for the job, but I see him winning the job because he's better than Trevor Siemian and better than Paxton Lynch. I want to ask you this. Is the Giant situation the better situation, or would it be better for him to start in Denver with a team with a, like, I know on paper the Giant defense is good, but they weren't too good last year. That Bronco defense being what it is. However, you've got the question with the 2 wide receivers you like to question, where Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, they're done at the end of the year. So you only get 1 year of them possibly if you're Josh Allen.
Well, right now the Giants need to find 5 new offensive linemen because not one of them could protect Eli last year.
No.
So
Josh Allen could play if Eli gets sacked a bunch of times and gets injured.
But at the same time, though, that's going to lead to probably worser numbers. Denver didn't have the best offensive line either, but it kind of comes down to that that situation too. It's not even just the wide receivers and what are the the tools. Not the tools, but the options that you have around you. It's are you going to be protected? Are you even going to have time to be able to throw to them? And that's going to be the question in New York, where I do think New York would be the better fit. I would hate to see you put in a quarterback back there trying to see what he's got and literally having him run for his life because your offensive line is the poorest of the poor. So that's going to be something that New York's going to have to look at as well.
Here's one guy I want to ask about getting away from Josh Allen for the first time in this segment. Roquan Smith. He's a guy for me, only rose 1 spot from the 2.0. He was at 6. Now he's at 5. You, though, had him rise from I think Roquan's your highest riser for big board number 3. You had him at 13. Now you got him at 5. What are you liking from Roquan Smith that he's in your top 5 now?
Well, he's fast. He's got great instincts. He's quick. That's one of the things, again, that you saw, I think, in the last couple of games with Georgia, especially in that game in the second half against Oklahoma in the playoff game. And what I liked from that is that Roquan Smith was really kind of held down in that first half. But what did he do? He kept fighting. And his name was being said a whole lot more in the second half. So he's a guy who's not going to give up either. And that means he's got some heart. So with his quickness, with his strength, and with his heart, I think that those are all things that are going to line up pretty nicely for him. Is he undersized? Yeah, they'll say he's undersized for his position. And that's where he's going to have to use his speed a little bit more. And that's okay. That's like another guy that we talked about earlier. Gosh, what was his name? I couldn't remember it. Yeah, Marcus Davenport. You know, they're gonna say that, oh, you know, is he? And you even brought it up too. Well, is he big enough? Does he have enough upper body strength? You know, he's got the lower body strength and everything, and his legs and all. But you know, if he's got some speed, he can use that to his advantage as well. So that's why I look at Roquan Smith and I say, hey, this guy's going to be pretty good.
Well, the thing that I look at is they categorize him as a linebacker at the combine. It doesn't matter if you categorize him as an inside or an outside. He ran a 4.51 40-yard dash. Do you want me to give you the outstanding number or the average number?
Give me both.
So which one do you want first?
You pick.
The average number. So for inside linebackers, it's a 4.77. For outside linebackers, it's a 4.72. So he's above that. The outstanding numbers for both of them, 4.65. He's about nearly over 0.10 less than what you want from an outstanding. So he's got the speed.
Yeah.
He's got the speed, and that's all he did at the combine. Didn't do anything else. Didn't jump, didn't press, didn't cone drill or anything. Just ran the 40, and he knocked it out of the park. Like, to me, speed kills. Like, this would be a Raiders thing. Just, you know what? Let's take him. Let's go ahead and take him. One thing I do want to ask you to kind of close up everything, because like Minkah and Bradley Chubb, we've talked about them before. Yeah, Minkah, he had the same thing. Today was the pro day for Alabama. Him and a bunch of other players decided they're not going to do anything. They did it at the combine, but they did interviews anyways. I don't really know if we have anything extra to add on Chubb and Minkah. Like, they're 3 and 4. The only difference we had is one spot between them. I want to ask you about two guys that aren't on our big board, but these are combine questions at best. The first one I want to ask you, and I asked Mark the same thing. What were your thoughts when Lamar Jackson decided, I am not going to run the 40 at the combine, I'll run it at my pro day because I'm not a wide receiver, I'm a quarterback?
Yeah. I thought that meant that he did not want to. I almost thought that it meant that he did not want to run it too well and have people say, "Well, look, this guy's really fast. He should just be a wide receiver instead," and which would be a really, I think kind of a crappy thing for people to say, because he's a quarterback. He's got great athleticism, but that shouldn't mean that he's any less of a quarterback.
Now I'm going to ask you the follow-up question to Lamar Jackson. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his pro day is March 29th. When they asked him at the combine, all right, you're not running it, but if you ran it today, how fast would you run it? He said 4.3, no problem. Do you think on Louisville's pro day we're going to get a 4.340 from Lamar Jackson?
You could. You definitely could.
We could, but do you think we're actually going to get the 4.340?
I think he'll be around probably a 4.4.
Would he be quicker than the second guy I was going to ask you about? And this is the last thing that I want to get your opinion on. A guy who had the fastest 40 from the combine that people are starting to talk about. Dave made the thing of like, yeah, he can run fast, but is it going to be a Darius Hayward-Bay situation of like, he just can't catch anything, even though he can run fast? DJ Chark ran the fastest 40, 4.340 for a wide receiver. 40 vertical jump, which was in the outstanding range. A 129 broad jump, which is phenomenal for the wide receiver position. Where do you see him moving forward? Because this was a guy on none of our big boards. None of our big boards for the 3.0.
Yeah, well, clearly I didn't look at him moving forward.
LSU guy, too.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how to answer your question because I would need to look more into him, because that's obviously not a guy that I was looking at for my big board. So that'd be someone who I'd look at next time and see what he continues to do throughout his time, because we still have plenty of weeks until we actually are going to be looking at the draft. So I would say that, if he's already got all those things working for him, he's certainly going to be rising. And it's what else is he going to be doing?
Because I find it funny that most of the guys, as I just look at the 40 times from the combine, DJ Chark, guy we haven't talked about, a guy we talked about during the season, but haven't talked about him in the draft at all, Antonio Callaway, remember his name? He ran
suspended for most of the season.
He ran a 4.4 140, and then a guy in Deion Kane, who was the wide receiver from Clemson, ran a 4.3 40. All of these quicker than the guys that we talked about early on. However, with wide receiver, it's like Dave said. Like when he said, is it going to be a Darius Hayward-Bay situation? You can run a 4.3 40, but can you catch the ball? Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned earlier, the Ted Ginn comparison to Calvin Ridley. Well, yeah, that's great, but can you catch the ball? Are you going to drop it like Ted Ginn did, especially when he was on my fantasy team? Not going to forget that, Ted. Never going to forget that. He cost me that week. I think they were playing against the Colts, too. He just right through the hand.
It was on a Monday night.
Yeah, it was, because he dropped it right through his hands, and it would have won me that game. I'm never going to forget that,
I actually
Ted.
think he needed to drop that pass for me, so I'm glad he did.
Well, good thing for you, bad thing for me. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below about our entire big board. If you're watching on YouTube and not watching the full podcast on YouTube, go check out the other segments. They are a hoot and a handy. We went really long. A hoot and a dandy? Is that what I'm looking for?
You said a hoot and a handy.
Yeah, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Because I messed it up.
I believe it's called a hoot and a half.
Yeah, hoot and a half or something like that. Whatever. Brandon helps me out. But you guys let us know what you think down below. Housekeeping here at the end. If you want to make sure we can do the stupid stuff we do, like right now, go check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Also, go and check out our store links. You can get an MVP t-shirt because we have those down below in our store on the link. MostValuablePodcast.com. That's where you get everything from MVP. And last but not least, go ahead on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and give the podcast a 5-star rating. I want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. I want to thank you guys for listening to podcast services around the world. But as always, have a good day, everybody.
And have a hoot and a handy.
A hoot and a handy.